What is up, people of this world and aliens who may be listening?
That'd be dope.
And people on the International Space Station. And robots. And other people. It is the Stream of Consciousness podcast. As always, I am Jerry.
I'm Spencer.
And this is our third overall episode. And today we're going to be talking about some pretty cool stuff. Spencer, you got anything to talk about?
I don't know. I mean, before we started recording, we were talking about, stupid stuff we did as a child.
We're like, okay, so think about this. Like, everyone's hating on kids who, play Fortnite.
Yeah.
And, we were talking about this earlier. You were just that cringy when you were a kid.
Yeah, with Minecraft.
Yeah.
Or, something else.
There's
you
always,
were that
there's
obsessed.
always that fad. If you're a millennial, it was Pokemon or something, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And, kids just are kids. Don't hate on them for, doing weird, annoying stuff. I don't know. I was the most annoying kid, though.
I feel like people that pick on kids are, a special kind of evil.
Well, they just, their lives are so, uninteresting and stuff.
That they have to pick on a kid.
They have to, they're so miserable that they have to, make fun of a kid.
That's so bad.
Yeah, it's kind of funny and it's kind of dorky and stuff. And, it's one thing to, laugh about it, but it's another thing to, just roast.
Full on, hate on somebody because they like Fortnite. Let them do them.
Yeah, and I guarantee all the people who are hating on the kids who like Fortnite were, grinding on Fortnite 6 months ago. Before it became, popular with all the kids.
Or, when they were their age, probably obsessed with, Minecraft or Pokemon just as much as they are with Fortnite.
Whatever dumb fad it is, there's always something like that. That's just, how kids are.
Yeah.
I don't know. Sometimes kids are annoying, though.
That's true.
There's a cute age of kids, but then, I don't know.
I feel like the cute age is, from, when they're a baby through, 10.
Not newborns, though. This might be a controversial
I think
statement.
newborns are ugly.
Yeah, newborns gross me out, kind of.
They are ugly. And I get really scared when one of my relatives is like, hey, hold this baby. And
I'm like, what if I
how about
this
I don't?
baby?
What if I squish its soft spot and kill it?
I always think of, the worst possible outcome that could happen when I hold a baby. Probably because I had this really traumatic incident when I was a kid.
Oh.
We lived out on the farm, right? And so we had a lot of farm cats, and, once or twice a year, they'd, interbreed and have incest kitties, and they were horribly malformed. And
that is, the worst I've ever had.
But, they were still cute,
Mm-hmm.
Anyways.
Kitties are kitties.
Yeah, so anyways, there was, a litter of kitties, maybe, 7 or 8 kitties, and they were, their eyes were, just opening up, and they were just, crawling around and, exploring the world out in their front yard, and they were so cute, and I was playing with the kitties and stuff, and anyway, so I was just walking around, we were, picking them up and holding them and stuff, and there was this board, and I was just walking, and I stepped on this board, and there was a baby kitty underneath the board.
No.
And I broke its spine.
Oh my god.
It was so sad, dude. I cried for 3 days, dude.
Oh,
and
that's terrible.
My mom didn't have the heart to tell me he died. She just said that a different mom came and rescued him and took him to the kitty doctor. But then then it definitely died. It was so sad, dude. The sound in there was
Don't.
And I was like,
oh,
dude. I just cried and cried and cried.
Oh
it was
my
so
God.
sad, dude. It was
That
such a
is
cute
so
little kitty.
sad.
I hate cats. I hate cats with a passion. I have a cat at my house. CN, he's the most annoying cat I've ever seen in my entire life.
I love CN.
No, he always tries to eat my steak and stuff whenever we're barbecuing. I'll just spray him with the hose. Sometimes I'll just punt him. I'll punt him.
That's animal abuse.
The dude gets 15 seconds of air time.
That is animal abuse.
One time he'll get an arc of 30 feet in the air, bro. You could do some physics to find out how far
Okay,
that
stop
cat's
talking
gonna
about
go.
how you abuse CN.
Anyways, I like kittens though.
Kittens are adorable.
Kittens are cute, bro. And that wrecked me.
That reminds me, goldfish, right?
Yes.
Their job is to, teach kids how to deal with death.
Dude, I didn't even
That's
think
why
about
we
that.
get goldfish, right?
I think you get goldfish because they're pets, bro. But
They're pets,
deep
but,
down,
They teach kids about death, which, I don't know, that's a tough thing to, talk about. Especially to a kid. They don't understand. They're a kid.
yeah, exactly. I don't know. So such a heavy concept.
Mm-hmm.
Even as teenagers, because
Even as an adult.
Yeah, like death is probably the biggest fear out of anyone in the entire world. Like,
Yeah.
you don't know what happens. Nobody knows what happens.
Like,
the only way you can find out is dying, and like
people that don't fear death are just liars.
yes, I agree. With
Nobody can be not afraid of death.
that. Like, there's like, I don't know. I'm not terrified of death, but like, obviously, I don't want to die. Like, my life is just beginning. You know, I have so many like things I want to experience, and like so much stuff ahead of me to like achieve and stuff like that. Like, I couldn't even comprehend. But like, also, there's that curiosity. You know.
Yeah.
Like what happens? Like,
Who knows, dude?
oh, it's kind of interesting though, because like, I've heard stories of like, you know, like heroin addicts and stuff like that when they overdose and like their heart literally stops beating, you know, and then they get like that, like the Narcan or whatever. They get Narcan back to life or whatever like that when the ambulance shows up or whatever. And like they're just like, yeah, it's basically just like being asleep, but like I guess their brain wasn't gone, you know, like they were still alive technically.
Yeah.
Because they weren't like.
But like all the people that like say that they died didn't actually like die. If you actually died, you can't come back.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know what's whack though? Like near-death experiences, bro.
Oh yeah, like this morning, I was walking from my car, right?
Oh man.
And I was coming through the parking lot, and I wasn't really paying attention. I know I should have, but I looked and I saw a truck coming, and I was like, oh, they're gonna stop for me, and they didn't. And they just whizzed right by me. They got within like a foot of me. And I just like froze. Like my life like literally flashed. Like it was so weird.
What?
Yeah.
I don't think this actually happened.
No, seriously, you can ask
What?
Parker. Parker almost hit me.
Oh yeah, dude, I forgot we had school today.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Parker.
Yeah. No hate on Parker though. Parker's a cool dude.
Yeah, dude, that's crazy. Like, I wasn't talking about that near-death experiences, but like,
Oh.
I feel you. Like, I got into a pretty bad car accident this summer.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna give too much details, but like, I remember every single second of that, you know? And like, time is so crazy the way your body reacts to like dangerous situations and like the way your brain's like, danger, danger, danger. And like, you never forget that stuff. Like, time literally slowed down, like, to the millisecond. Like, it's insane. And like, I wasn't even that injured or anything. But like, it's just
Yeah.
crazy. But that's not what I was talking about, like, the whole, like, the light at the end of the tunnel and, like,
Oh, okay.
all that kind of, like,
Yeah.
near-death experience.
Well-
People are like, I went to heaven, like, all that stuff.
Like, one of the people. Well, I've talked about Jim before on the podcast. I think. Maybe. I don't know. Okay. Well, anyway, so when we go fishing in Canada, the old camp that we used to go, Jim. He's a really cool dude. He's just your like stereotypical Canadian guy. He's got this big old beard. He looks like a lumberjack.
Oh, yeah.
He always wears flannels. He's missing a couple teeth up front.
Oh, yeah, he's out in a boot, eh?
Yeah, he sounds like a typical Canadian. He's the nicest guy I've ever met. But him and his wife were out boating on the lake,
Yeah.
and there was a dam upstream. I mean, I know I said lake, but it's like a river lake type thing.
Yeah, I feel they're all those lakes
There's
are
like
kind of connected, you know?
There's like a gentle current type thing, but they released the dam, and they were going through this bridge, which is this choke point that gets from, about 200 feet across on the lake to
Yeah.
like 50. So it's like a huge choke point. So when the dam gets open to flush it, the huge waves come through, and this alert system didn't work. So they were coming against the current through that bridge as soon as that big wave came
Oh, wow.
and flipped the boat.
Oh, wow.
And he said that when he went under, he couldn't, like, it was such a shock, he just couldn't do anything. And he ended up telling us that, like, there wasn't any light at the end of the tunnel. It's just cold, and it's just dark, and then it's just everything fades. And then he said that somebody reached down and grabbed his hand and pulled him up and resuscitated him. But they couldn't find his wife, so his wife passed away.
Oh, wow.
Which is terrible. She was such a nice lady. But,
That's crazy.
and he was, he said it changed him. Like,
Oh, for sure, dude. That
From-
would change anybody.
before that to, like, what he, was afterward, he was a changed person. And it's insane how that like near death experience can change someone. It gives you a completely different perspective. It makes you realize like you're not going to be here forever. You need to live it up.
And
like what he said afterward was that like right after that he was like, I'm going to go to Mardi Gras in Louisiana.
And you just sent it?
And he had plans to do that in February. But I mean, sadly he had a heart attack, so he passed away. But I mean, God rest him. He was the nicest guy I've ever met, honestly.
Dang, bro. That really is too bad. Like,
Yeah.
It's just so crazy. Like, I don't know. Every once in a while, like, humans are bad about realizing like all these things they have that they take for granted. But like, every once in a while, they realize. Like, at least for me, like maybe it's like you're just having a walk on a beautiful day and the sun's setting, and it's just like it's just that feeling where like everything feels right in the world, and you're just like,
you just gotta take a second and appreciate it.
you're just like, wow. And
Yeah.
like that doesn't happen very often, but as long as it happens every once in a while, I think that's okay.
Even
just to
in like
remind you that like
it's good. Like even in like the worst days of your life, I think the best advice if you're in like a slump and you just don't feel normal, just take a second and find something that's just like beautiful. Find a flower, find a sunset, find some clouds, a cute dog, and just appreciate it. And just appreciate living in the moment.
Like I haven't had a hard life by any any stretch.
I don't think anybody
imagination
in the
whatsoever.
U.S. can say that they've had a hard life.
But like even
Personally,
I know tons
worldwide.
of people who have had much harder lives.
Oh,
than
exactly.
me. But like, and like I've never had problems with like depression or anything, so I might not be like the best like advice person for this, but like you just gotta get through it. Like everyone's gonna hit that point where they're at rock bottom, you know.
Yeah.
But you can only go up from there. I don't really know what I'm trying to get at all, but like,
Well, and some of it is like you can't just tell somebody that's like depressed to get over it. You know, oh, just stop being sad. No, but that's not like. At least I don't think that's what you're saying.
no,
But you just gotta power through it.
because like things always get better.
Yeah,
And, like
things will always get better.
it's interesting, like with the increase in depression in modern day. I don't know. I think it's a multitude of things.
I think it's diet, and I think it's social media. I think that's the two biggest things, and I think the drugs that we prescribe people that have depression aren't helping.
Oh, dude, yeah, like those like antipsychotic, those antidepressant SSRI drugs, they are not healthy for you at all. Like, I'm not judging anyone at all, but like usually the people who end up getting prescribed those medications end up worse than they were before. Like, this is just an example. I think almost every school shooter, every like mass shooter in like recent history, almost all of them have been on either like ADHD medications or antidepressants. And like the thing is, when you're having like homicidal thoughts already, it just makes it that much worse.
Oh,
you know?
it amplifies it, especially with things like Ritalin and what's it called, Adderall.
Yeah, because you're just feeding dopamine into your brain, and then once you get off it, your body doesn't know how to produce the dopamine anymore. And
You
like,
get used to it.
yeah, like drugs are bad for you, like the illegal ones, but like think about this. We're giving these powerful things that like permanently alter your brain chemistry to kids who are like as young as like 9 years old.
Yeah.
Like even younger than that sometimes. And like your brain is so malleable at that age. Like you're telling me that like a kid smoking weed in high school is going to be more dangerous than getting a kid on amphetamines to like fix his focus. Like, I'm sure ADHD is a real problem, but a lot of those kids probably don't have ADHD. They probably have too much energy because they're stuck inside in school for 7 hours a day and not allowed to like release that energy.
And think of like I don't think of the word, what composes the people that have ADHD. Mostly boys, and they're mostly super energetic. it's something that you just can't ignore. Like, the school system isn't built for boys, in my opinion.
I don't think it's built for kids in general.
Yeah,
because
kids are high energy.
Yeah.
They want to get up and do things,
they
not
wanna-
sit in the classroom for 7
They want
hours.
to go play and explore, and that's the way they learn best too, is through like playing and exploring. And,
Yeah,
like,
teaching themselves.
moving with their hands and like
Yeah.
learning things and like experimenting and stuff. Like not being forced to sit still and lecture. Like
But I think that part of that, why they do it, is like that's what a 9 to 5 job is like, and
Yeah,
they
it's
want to
like-
ingrain that
it's like-
schedule into
dude,
your
it's
head.
like brainwashing. You're
It
pretty
is.
much like
It literally is brainwashing.
like think about it. Like school is like pretty much just like
It's work for kids.
it's a pipeline
Mm-hmm.
from the age from the time you're 4 years old, you are ingrained with a strict schedule, Monday through Friday, 7 or 8 hours a day, working, sitting, doing like busy work. And then what do you do? What do the majority of people do when they're older? They sit in an office, they work, they do busy work. Like it's all one giant system, it seems like. And like I don't know if that's on purpose or not, but that's just the way it is. And like yeah, like that's just not healthy for kids, I think. Like there's a reason why kids get so excited for recess, and there's a reason why if you ask probably almost any boy in elementary school what their favorite subject is, it's going to be like gym class.
Gym class or recess.
Because they just love to
love
run around. They
getting
love
up.
to play with
Yeah.
balls. They love to they love to play sports. They love to like play tag. They love to play hide and seek. They're always like inventing new games to play.
Well,
Like
and especially with boys, like with young boys, like they just like to like be physical.
Yeah.
Like whether it's like play wrestling or acting like they're boxers or
Yeah,
they're
like-
superheroes or whatever. They
that's
just
natural,
like to
dude. Like
be that.
kids have so much energy, dude. Like I have like a bunch of little cousins, and they just run around nonstop from the second they get to my grandma's house to the second they leave. They're like drenched in sweat constantly.
Yeah.
So someone will just like it'll be like silent, peaceful, and then someone will yell, "Attack!" and then it'll just be like a giant swarm, and like
Yeah.
I play with them too, and like they honestly wear me out, dude. They don't get tired because
They don't, 'cause they have so
metabolism is
much energy.
fast. They have so much energy. They're always playing. Like they'll just be like aim for the knees, and they'll just be like
Yeah, they'll
wrestling
take
each
you
other.
down.
And like they'll wrestle for like 15 minutes. Someone will get hurt and start crying. The parents will come down and yell at them, and be like, "Hey, stop wrestling." It'll be silent for 5 more minutes,
And then
someone
they'll
will
start wrestling
someone
again.
will attack, and it'll start all over again.
Yeah.
Like that's just how boys are. Like, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like,
There's not. That's just how boys are. They
And
just
then-
like to wrestle and they like to
and I
play
think
rough.
when you repress those emotions, you repress that energy
And that's when you get
testosterone
Yeah.
at a young age. That's when you get the wackos, dude. Like the majority of like serial killers and mass murderers are men, and I think that's because they don't have an outlet for their testosterone. They don't have an
Yeah.
outlet for their
Yeah.
like male energy, and like male energy isn't a bad thing. It's just like
it's just part of
in modern
Yeah.
society, it's kind of like frowned upon to be like constantly like running around and working and doing things with your hands and
Yeah.
stuff. Like
Well, I mean, and it's even working its way down to like being a young kid. Like, I mean, that Gillette ad, it has the one dad breaking up the 2 kids wrestling and being like, "That's not how we treat each
yeah,
other."
there's a difference.
There's a
between-
difference between trying to kill someone and play
Yeah,
wrestling.
yeah. There's a difference between a kid being a bully and like pushing a little kid like on the playground, like a 6th grader pushing like a kindergarten or something because he thinks he's so tough and cool and a
Yeah.
big kid, versus like 2 kids who like start playing tag and they start play wrestling and stuff like.
Yeah. There's a huge difference, and it's not hard to tell. Like, it's so easy to spot the difference between those two things.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like night and day.
And then when you don't allow that like natural like wrestling and like being active and being physical and stuff, that's when you get the fights because they just have like the pent up anger and the pent up
And the
emotion.
aggression.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's when it, like, somebody doesn't say that they're it and tag, and then that's when hands start going.
Yeah.
That's when people start throwing punches.
Like I was the fat kid for like the first like 10 or like 12 years of my life. I was by far like I was the fat kid, I was the slow kid, I was the chubby kid, I was a kid with asthma. And like even I loved like being outside and like not necessarily exercising but like playing games and stuff, you know.
Whew.
Yeah. don't know. It's just.
Yeah.
Anyways, like those. It's not good to be messing with your brain chemistry.
It is not.
At early of an age.
Yeah. Well, and I think I heard a thing somewhere that, like, people want to raise the drinking age in the U.S. because your brain isn't fully, like, developed when you're 21. I think that's a terrible idea. I think we should lower it, if anything.
Yeah. You're telling me that you can go and fight for your country and watch friends die and get grenades thrown at you and have PTSD and shell shock and risk death and injury and like losing loved ones and like go off and fight in the military, but you can't have a beer.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
That just doesn't seem right to me. Like if you're old enough to make the conscious decision to kill someone, you are old enough to make the conscious decision to have a beer. Frankly, honestly, do whatever you want. Like you're in control of your body. There shouldn't be people who like tell you you can do this, you can't do that. Like if you want to go and eat like 5 Big Macs every single day and die of a heart attack,
do it.
Like that's your body. There shouldn't be anyone who should be able to tell you to like not do that.
And I think like if anything, we should lower the drinking age.
Yeah,
like look at European countries. European countries like Germany, the drinking age is 14. Mm-hmm. You can legally go out and drink when you're 14 years old.
Yeah, like with a parent, right?
Yeah, but you can't go driving until you're 16 or 17.
I think it's 18 actually.
Is it really?
Yeah, in the EU, I'm pretty sure.
And the point of that is that like if you start at an early age, where if a 14-year-old gets blackout drunk, which it won't, they're under parental supervision, but they know the effects of drinking at a younger age, so they know that they can't drink and drive.
Yeah.
But when it's your first time and you're 21 and you go out partying with your buddies and everybody's drinking and you try to drive, you don't know the effects and you're not used to it, so you don't know that you can't drive.
Yes. Europeans probably drink on average way more than Americans, like way more frequently, but they're much healthier about it.
They're more controlled with it. They don't binge drink.
Yeah, because they learn moderation from a young age.
Yeah.
You know, because first time most people drink is probably honestly not when they're 21, probably at like a high school party or like when they're 18 or something like that. And they go and it's a party, you know, so they're drinking, they're chugging, and they get absolutely trashed.
Yeah, they're drinking to get drunk.
They don't learn how to like enjoy like a nice moderate buzz and learn not to push it too far and like do it in moderation. They just have to go more, get as like messed up as I possibly can. Mm-hmm. And like it creates an unhealthy relationship from the start, and then you wonder why people are getting into like accidents and people are becoming alcoholics and stuff, you know, versus like learning with a parent, like, okay, you can have a couple drinks, don't have too many because you'll make poor decisions and like you'll have a hangover and stuff like that. And, like,
well, and I think that's a huge issue on college campuses.
Oh yeah,
especially with fraternities. Like, with frats, you're trying to see who can drink the most.
Yeah,
that's how it is 90% of the time. You're fighting for that social power. Yeah. Almost of, oh, dude, did you meet Frank? Frank can drain an entire 12-pack of beer. Watch this. And then Frank just goes and just shotguns the whole 12-pack.
And the thing is, like, I have no problem with alcohol or drinking alcohol, but it's a poison for your body. Mm-hmm. And there's a reason why you feel awful the next day after you've been binge drinking all night, because it's not good for you and your body's trying to get it out, you know? And so you got to learn, like, everything's a poison depending on the dose, you know, so you have to learn how to, like, be responsible with it, and you have to learn how to not overdo it, because, like you said, on college, like, there's, like, literally, like, 10 people a year who die in, like, fraternity hazings because they drink too much, and they literally just die of alcohol poisoning.
Yeah. And it's such a sad thing, too.
And, like, people think it's cool. Like, I don't understand how that's cool. Like, what's the point of, like, altering your state of mind if you're not even going to remember it? Mm-hmm. Like, wow, dude, that was such a wild night. I don't even remember anything. I was like completely blackout drunk. I was like, yeah, well, how is that enjoyable if you can't even remember it?
Yeah.
And like enjoy the experience because you're like sick, puking everywhere and stuff.
And like, I'm not against hazing specifically, but I think making somebody that's never drank before do 10 shots of wood alcohol and like making them just completely blackout drunk, that's terrible. But if you make them like cover them in maple syrup and cover them in feathers and whatever and make them run around campus. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, like I honestly, this might sound bad. I'm kind of pro hazing, like not,
Yeah, because it
violent or like
dangerous
extreme or
almost.
anything like
It's
that,
just
but like it creates a bond.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
like, a sense of brotherhood, and it's not discrimination because every single person before you did it and every single person after you is going to do it, and then when you're part of the group, you can watch the other person do it and think back on how it was for you, and then at the end of it, they're not making fun of you. They're like, welcome to the group. They shake your hand, they give you hugs, and you're part of the group now,
Yeah.
And like most people who are in fraternities or sororities, like they're friends for life. They're brothers or sisters,
And I think it's a shame that it's kind of dying out because of all the stigma. I mean, like we said, with like all the terrible deaths that have happened with overconsumption with drinking. I think it's just terrible that that's part of hazing. But like, if you just made the potential frat members like run naked around campus covered in feathers and syrup, I'm so fine with that. If you make them roll around in the snow naked, who cares?
I think another part of the problem is you go from having like no responsibilities as a high school teenager to like being completely on your own. Like,
I think that's a huge issue.
And like the thing is, parents are so like overprotective these days. Like back in the day, they would just let their kid walk around in the neighborhood for like the whole day, and then they just come in at night. They wouldn't worry about them at all. And like, yeah, the world's a scarier place, but I honestly
I don't think it is a scarier place.
No, I said it's a scary place. I don't think it's a scarier place. If anything, I actually think it's safer. But like,
it is safer.
But nowadays, if you see a kid walking around by himself, you're like parents freak out and they call the cops and
Child Protective Services, and they get the parents in trouble.
Why is this kid walking around by himself? Like, he could be in trouble. Like, he could be in danger. But like, it's good for like kids to learn that independence, because if you have parents who are like hovering over you, like watching your every step, you're not going to have a chance to make mistakes, and you don't have a chance to make mistakes when it's easy to recover from those mistakes. And then you're completely on your own, and then you're surrounded by a bunch of people your age who are completely on their own for the first time too, and they're like, oh, I'm on my own.
That's a bad environment to learn in.
I'm just going to do whatever I want, whenever I want. I'm going to go get trashed. I'm going to do all these fun things that I couldn't do alone at my house. Because like my parents were constantly controlling me, and now I'm finally away from them, so I'm just going to like go off the rails,
Yeah.
Like, when I raise my kids, I don't know. I'm going to like, obviously I'm going to care for them, but I'm not going to be like up in their business all the time, Obviously if they're getting into trouble with like the law or something, it's a little bit different, but like, teenagers are stupid. Like, it's part of being a teenager is rebelling against your parents and
being stupid, making mistakes.
Making bad decisions. It's literally in your brain chemistry. As a teenager, you take more risks. You are more social. You care more about what your peers think than your parents think. It's natural to like disagree with your parents and have arguments with it. Like, that's just something that happens, and it's part of becoming mature, and it's part of growing into an adult.
Exactly. Yeah, and if you are a helicopter parent, you completely stifle that opportunity to grow. You stifle that opportunity to learn, and you also raise a child that's going to be worse off.
Yeah.
All you do as a helicopter parent is make a good liar.
Yeah, and you're setting them up for dependency their whole entire life, and then when they finally are on their own, they have no clue what to do. They have no clue how to like control themselves. They're like, oh, well, my mom never used to let me do this. My mom never let me stay up past 11 o'clock, so I'm just gonna stay up all night every night playing video games and like doing all this stupid stuff.
Oh, attendance isn't mandatory for class. I'm just gonna skip.
Yeah,
stuff like that, and that's why you get kids flunking out of college so often, is that they're not used to that independence, so they just go off the rails.
There's too many people in college, I think.
I agree. I think that colleges have become kind of like overcrowded almost, because there's people going to college that should not be going to college.
Yes. The thing is, schools have especially in my parents' generation, our parents' generation, college was pushed so hard by schools. Like, everybody should go to college if you want success at life. And that's not the case. People who are naturally smart go to college. But, the thing is, I don't think there's very many people that are just like truly like stupid at everything. For me, it seems like the people who aren't like naturally smart at like books and math and science and reading and stuff like that are naturally good, like are more mechanically minded and are good with their hands. And it's like a perfect balance, you know, because you need to have your electricians, your plumbers and stuff. Not everyone is smart enough to be a doctor.
Yeah.
And you have people going to college and wasting it on degrees, and like student loans are so expensive now, so they just get useless degrees and are buried in debt, you know.
Well, and I think some of it is like people are always told to like follow their dreams. But as bad as this sounds, I don't think some people should follow their dreams.
No.
Like if your dream is to become a rodeo clown, that was a bad example. I mean, if you want to be a rodeo clown, do it. But like if your dream is to become an artist, there's no market for artists.
Well, here's what I'm going to say.
You can't get a job with a degree in finger painting.
Follow your dream, but don't be upset when you're broke, you know? Don't be upset when your life doesn't pan out the way you want it to, because like there are some people who are going to make a lot of money doing what they love, and they are going to be the happiest people. But for most people, that's not the case. For most people, they need to find a balance between this will provide a good living for me and I enjoy doing this. You know, like the people who are like, a lot of people are raised on the notion that you're special, you can achieve whatever you want, like you're gonna be happy and live your dream and do whatever you want. That's not the case. Like, not everyone can be a famous artist, not everyone can be a movie star, not everyone can be an actor, not everyone can be the president, you know? Like, there needs to be people who just like fill in those other jobs, and I think people wouldn't be so upset with their lives if they weren't told that they were amazing and special and they could achieve everything. Like, even like, you could be like the smartest person in your school. I guarantee you there's someone out there who's smarter than you.
There's always somebody smarter than you.
You could be the best athlete in your school. I guarantee there's someone who's better at whatever sport you're good at than you. Like, that's just the way life is. And like, you're like, especially in a small town environment, like, you just grow up in that small town, you never realize how big the world is.
When you grow up in a small town, like, everybody kind of has their niche. Like, everybody's usually good at something in the small towns because there's not a lot of diversity there. But as soon as you step out into like the real world, you really realize just how big everything is and how many people there are. Like, I mean, Geneseo is like 6,000 people, and there's like 800 at the high school.
Yeah, roughly.
Yeah. That's like tiny. That is so small compared to like a Chicagoland school where there will literally be like 800 people in a class.
That's insane, dude. That's insane for me to even think about.
You will graduate like
without knowing over half the people in your class.
You could literally go to school and meet somebody new every single day for your entire high school career and not meet everyone.
That's crazy, because like, I don't know if this is an advantage or a disadvantage, but like, living in a small town, you might not know everybody, but like, you know everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, you might not like know them face to face, but you recognize them and you know who they are, and like,
you recognize them, or like they know somebody that knows you.
Like, I don't know. It's good and it's bad. It's good because you have that friendliness and that familiarity, but like,
I think that familiarity kind of leads people into a false sense of security. So they think that like, oh, this town's good, I'm gonna move to Chicago and make it there. And then when they get there, it's just this place where there's 4 million people, and they just
crazy like
don't care.
Yeah, like,
they got their own
city
lives.
Are so different than people in the country. Like, they're less polite, and like, they're more busy and like focused on.
I think that's the thing,
because it's a busier atmosphere. It's constantly go 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 go.
I don't think it's that they're more rude. I think it's
just
that they have more to do.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I would enjoy living in the city for a couple of years, but then I would never get burnt out.
Want to live in the city all the time. Honestly, if I could live somewhere, Portland, Maine. It's beautiful in Maine. It's so beautiful.
I don't know, man. I just want
to miss out on the mountains.
I just want to have a decent amount of land. I want to have like a lake and like a farmhouse and like just like nice and quiet and relaxing and like a little bit secluded, you know?
Yeah, I gotcha. That'd be nice.
That would be nice.
You know what's really crazy?
What?
French Canada.
French Canada's whack, bro.
Dude, it's so weird. Like, Quebec wants to be in the U.S.
Quebec is like the Florida of Canada.
No.
What is it then?
It's like the New York, or California of Canada.
That's even worse.
Hear me out on this one. So, California, right?
Yeah.
They want to secede. Quebec wants to secede from Canada. California, right? Huge socialist area. Quebec, huge socialist area. California mostly speaks a different language than English. Quebec, they only speak French. California, most people that live there are kind of stuck up. Quebec, they make fun of you if you don't speak perfect French. It's the same thing except further north.
You know what would be dope? A civil war between Northern and Southern California.
Northern California would win, no doubt in my
And
mind.
rightly so.
I
I would be fine if California seceded.
I think California. Have you heard about the Three Californias plan?
That's an awful idea.
I think it's a great
I think
idea.
it's a horrible
I think
idea.
it is a great idea.
It
I
It
just
would
think they should
skew to
redraw the
such an
map.
advantage to
No,
the
I think they should
Democrats.
redraw the map, though. They should include San Francisco down the coast all the way to San Diego, like that, and then call that California. And then Northern California would be like Redwood Country down to like Sacramento, and then that would include that area. And then everything else would be like San Diego,
Like SoCal.
SoCal. And then like with the Northern California, you'd have a solid red state. With the California coast, you would have a solid blue state.
And then
And
you'd
then
have,
with
like,
the
kind of a
middle,
mixed
you'd have
one.
kind of a leaning blue, but would flip depending on the election.
Yeah, I think California has too much power, honestly.
It has way too much power. California's huge.
And it sucks,
It
too.
does
Like,
suck.
how-
Taxes in
how-
California are higher than anywhere
how
else
can-
in the country.
How can you have the third highest economy in the world by yourself, as a state by yourself,
Yeah.
and be the most broke state?
Yeah.
That is whack.
How can you have the highest population of homeless people, San Francisco, and like complain about how social services aren't funded enough?
Dude, it's disgusting.
It's
Like,
terrible.
People
Like,
just like poop on the streets, dude. Like,
really?
yeah, it's like it's such a bad problem, dude. Like it's pretty much India, dude. Like, I'm not even exaggerating at
Like,
all. Like, it's
well, I know
disgusting
in
and filthy.
San Francisco, they have this huge like rent issue. Like rent in San Francisco is
It's,
nearly
like,
the
sky
highest in
high.
the world, and it's to the point where they are almost going to pass a bill that caps rent prices. I'm not even
That's
kidding
insane.
with this. But like, if you cap rent prices, that's going to be awful. That's going to destroy everything. You know what I mean? Because you just got to let it regulate. Because then if you can have, you know, this 5-star penthouse apartment for $2,000 a month.
I don't know, man.
Crazy.
It's just so crazy, like how out of hand it's gotten so fast.
Mm-hmm.
And like their homeless problem is just so bad.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. I don't know if I'd ever want to go to California. I would go to Yosemite.
I like
That's it.
Northern California. I like Yosemite. I like the redwoods, and
I like Sacramento.
I don't know. And like the oceans are nice too, but like Southern California is just such a mess.
Mm-hmm.
Like Los Angeles is probably like my least favorite out of the big 3 cities. Like I would rather live in Chicago than Los Angeles, honestly.
Oh, that's an unpopular opinion.
That is a popular opinion by me. Because like the rent is sky high, and like I don't know,
Los Angeles is on track to be like bigger than New York.
Los Angeles is also on track to be the next San Francisco, though. That's the thing.
Except it's bigger. Los Angeles is a scary city. It's huge.
It is huge.
It is gigantic.
Compton is a part of Los Angeles. Think about that. Think about that.
Okay, like, I think I saw this map, and it was a picture, and it had like the size of like, I don't remember what county it is. The Los Angeles.
Yeah, Los Angeles County is what.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay. And it was like that, and then including most of the suburbs, right? And it had that population, and then it compared it to like
Wyoming.
It's bigger than almost every single state, unless it has like a top 5 city.
That's crazy.
That's ridiculous. People should not live in big cities. It's just not healthy. Like
It's not healthy. There's no green everywhere. Everyone's claustrophobic and crowded all the time. The air pollution's horrible. Like people are like what people pay for rent for like a crappy, shabby apartment in Los Angeles could get you a house out here, like a big house.
Yeah.
Out here in Geneseo.
Yeah.
And like we have reasonably like high priced houses compared to like other places around here. Like it's just so insane. Like they're paying like $1,500 a month for a 1-bedroom, 1-bath apartment. That's not even that nice.
Yeah.
And like I don't know. I think there's like a mass exodus from the big cities. It seems like. I think there's.
I feel like it's just the opposite.
No, bro. I think there's like a movement back to rural life by a lot of people.
I can
besides,
see
like,
that.
Immigrants and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Immigrants are moving into big cities because like they can't live rurally. Like they don't have legal papers, so they can't get a driver's license. They can't buy a car, so they have to use the public transportation systems. Not that that's a bad thing,
No.
but it's just a different. It's different.
Is
than
San Francisco a
what people think.
sanctuary city?
I'm sure it is.
I don't know how like many of the homeless people are like Native American or like natural born Americans and how many are immigrants or whatever.
I don't know either. I'm sure it's. I mean, it's
just
pretty far north, though. I don't know. I think most of the people in Los Angeles that are part of the homeless issue there are illegally immigrated or recently immigrated.
It's just so insane the amount of money they spend. Mm-hmm. And some of the regulations like don't even accomplish anything.
Yeah.
Like the straw thing. Like
Yeah, this plastic straw ban.
you waste more.
I'm sorry,
plastic
that
with
doesn't do
paper
anything.
straws than you would with the plastic straws. And 93% of all ocean pollution comes from China, anyways. Like
Yeah. And your pro-recycling campaign, like if somebody's going to litter, they're going to litter. They don't really care about your
yeah, like
they don't care that it hurts the environment. If somebody's gonna yeet like a water bottle into the ocean,
yeah,
they're gonna do it.
yeah, they're gonna yeet that water bottle into the ocean, man.
They do it consciously.
Like
They know what they're doing.
here's a pro tip to stop trash in the ocean. Stop yeeting water bottles into the ocean.
Yeah.
Like it's insane the amount of disrespect people have for the environment. Like with the government shutdown, which is now the worst of all time by a long shot.
The worst.
Dude, it's gonna be a week past the previous record tomorrow.
Holy,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. So
Yeah, it's a long
the
time.
worst ever national shutdown. Anyways, the national
Isn't that
parks-
almost a month?
It was
'Cause it was 21
like a week
days.
before Christmas. Yeah, it was almost.
Oh
a
my
month. That's
god,
crazy.
that's insane.
But like the
Man,
national
and nothing
parks
bad
are-
has happened.
Why do we have to pay taxes if the government's shut down?
If we only have the essentials running, why do we need everything else?
Facts. But like, I think we do need the national parks.
Oh yeah, for sure. If we need one thing that's controlled by government, it's the
Like-
national parks.
But you're telling me that they can still take taxes out, but I can't get my tax returns? And I know they kind of work that all out, but like, that's stupid.
Yeah.
Why do people under 18 have to pay income tax anyways?
Well, and I think the whole thing with the shutdown is it's not going to get worked out anytime soon.
No, it's not.
Neither side wants to compromise. And I mean, I don't know. I think if anybody's going to cave, it's going to be the Democrats in the House.
Yeah, Donald Trump.
Because they're the ones that have their entire political careers riding on it. Donald Trump has assets outside to get a job. But if those people in the Senate and in Congress can't, like, cancel or, like, screw it up so people can't get paid working for the government, they're done. They're going to get voted out of office.
The diehard Trumpers are going to vote for Trump no matter what he does anyways.
Yep.
And like, it wasn't just like a rare thing in 2016. Like, you saw the midterm elections. Like, yeah, the Democrats took back the House, but not by nearly as much as they thought they were. And
they lost
the House.
traction in
The
the
House
Senate.
swings literally every midterm. Yeah, they lost people in the Senate. So like, there's still an avid amount of Trump supporters out there. But I think the wall might work. I think a decent idea applied wrong, and I think that we should not be wasting tax money on a wall. Like,
I think his campaign promise wall is a waste of money, but increasing border security and increasing, like, the whole wall plan is like $5.6 billion, and people want to portray it as this is just Donald Trump's power move to put a concrete wall in between us and Mexico. It's not that at all. What he really wants is, yeah, there's going to be a physical barrier there, and that's the majority of it, but almost as big of almost the same amount of money is going to go towards improving, like, the facilities for the illegal immigrants that are detained. It's going to add more beds. It's going to add more officers. It's going to add more people that are actually there helping them out to end all of the. I mean, there's been, 2 deaths in the holding facilities recently?
I think that the problem with illegal immigration is that I think we have incredibly strict immigration laws, but we don't have, like, very efficient immigration laws. We don't filter out by, like, who would benefit the country the most. We just have, like, extremely rigorous and, like, painstaking things you have to go through to become a citizen. Like, they have to take this, like, super hard United States test that I guarantee the majority of Americans would fail. Because, like,
no doubt,
you have to know, like, the ins and outs of the government. You have to know about the history. You have to know about different presidents. You have to, like, study English if you don't speak English and all that stuff. And, like,
I think part of that is kind of necessary to show, like, their commitment to, like, wanting to become a citizen, but it should not be as rigorous as it is.
I agree. And I think also we should be more strict with enforcing work visas.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, because that's how most illegals get in.
They get work visas and they just don't leave.
Yep.
And so when you have a work visa but you want to become a citizen, you should work on getting your citizenship while you have the work visa and you're in the United States and you can establish citizenship.
But the people that have the work visas know that they're not going to get deported if they overstay.
And the thing is, honestly, the majority of illegal immigrants aren't smuggling drugs. And I get the ones that are a threat, but the thing is, we can solve that problem by getting rid of the war on drugs. Because if we legalize cocaine, the cartel would go out of business because people would be buying it legally. You wouldn't have to worry about it. The crime rates would go down so much. Mexico would finally be able to, and people wouldn't want to leave Mexico anymore because they wouldn't be in a complete state of disarray and almost
people
anarchy.
Aren't moving Mexico now. The majority of the illegal immigrants coming in are from Central America, which is where most of the drug problems are, where most of the cartel action is.
Yeah, that's true.
As it's in Central America. It's kind of moved south and north almost to kind of sandwich into Central America.
We're like Colombia and stuff like that.
Yeah, Colombia's kind of like lost it, so it's kind of like moving into the Central American areas.
And those are the people who are more likely to cause problems, too, because they got troubled past and they're fleeing all kinds of persecution. And
a lot of the thing is like, back when, like, Bush was president, most of the illegals coming in were, like, just single men.
Yeah, and they were Mexicans looking to, like, get a
job
lives.
And better their lives, get some money, and then go back to Mexico and help their family. Which, I mean, that's not necessarily a bad thing. They should just get a work visa instead of illegally coming in. But, whatever. That's not as big of a problem now. The problem is that it's mostly families coming in from Central America, fleeing all the violence and the drugs that are just rampant there.
And the thing is, it shouldn't be the taxpayers' responsibility to take care of these people. Like, yeah, I feel bad for them, and yeah, they deserve a chance to better themselves, but, like, I still believe that in the United States, you can at least make a decent living from, like, starting from nothing. It's just a matter of, like, willpower. And the problem is a lot of people who are foreign, they come in here and they end up getting welfare checks for their children, and they end up getting complacent. They don't really work hard to achieve that level of success.
The issues of the welfare state.
And if you're just getting a free check from the government every month, why would you want to go out and get a job? Because you're living on easy street because you don't have to worry about a crazy government in disarray, and you don't even have to work because the government's literally just paying you.
You don't have to worry about the government knocking on your door and coming to kill you, or the cartel doing that.
Yeah, and you should not be able to receive like Social Security benefits if you're not a citizen.
I agree.
At all, because that's a benefit you don't.
That's
you
a
don't pay
benefit of being a citizen.
Yeah, exactly.
Not of
and
being
that,
in
and
the
that
country.
would inspire people to become citizens.
Yeah,
You know.
exactly.
Anyways, we're at 50 minutes. I didn't even realize we were going so
Yeah,
far.
I know. Time flies.
So I think we're gonna wrap this one up. Kind of open-ended, but
Yeah, I mean, more to resume in later
yeah, we
podcasts.
kind of bounced around a little bit on this one. But
Yeah.
overall, it was good topics. Honestly, every time we do this, I can't remember what we started off
Oh,
with.
yeah. It's kind of crazy. Like, you just lose track of it. It just goes.
Just kind of jump around, just kind of flows, honestly.
Mhm.
It's just a stream of consciousness.
That's what we call it.
Adios.
Goodbye.